Hello, my loves. I am Dr. Harvey, and welcome to my Psych 1000 class. This is my absolute favorite class to teach. A lot of professors don't like teaching the entry-level classes, but I absolutely love it. So I have been teaching this class for 20 years, since 2005, and I have not tired of it yet, believe it or not. But you students are the ones that make it really interesting for me. So I definitely want to hear from you. I love interacting with you guys. So if you have any questions or comments or things that you're concerned about or problems or whatever, don't be afraid to message me. If I do something wrong and screw something up on here, there's dates wrong or whatever, or something looks weird, then don't be afraid to contact me and let me know that there is an issue. Because I am not a mean professor, or at least I try not to be. So please, please, please talk to me about things. This is your grade. This is your future. So we'll work together. Okay, so anyhow, I just want to quickly walk you through Canvas because I want to make sure that you guys are organized, that you know what you're doing, that you know what to expect. I can only do what I can do. Hopefully this all makes sense to you. If it doesn't, again, contact me and I will help you, okay? This is literally my job, so let me know if you have issues. All right, so when you come into the class, you are going to see the be on the home screen, okay? So you will have some announcements here, what's going on. It'll post the last 3 announcements. We only have 1 so far. We'll soon have more. And then, so this should come to your email. If you don't check your VVC email often, you can forward your VVC email to your personal email. So I suggest you do that to make sure that you're getting the announcements. Make sure that you read the announcements. All right, so this is just a little introduction thing about the class, a little bit about me, just some basic stuff to get you started. You've got some quick links here to the modules. Same button is right here, the syllabus, and a quick link to your textbook. Although there's more than one textbook, this just takes you to the main one, but we will get into that. Okay, so just read through that real quick. Then the next thing that you need to check out is the module section. So we will click on that. Okay, so this is the module section. Okay, to make things easy, you can collapse all the windows and you can only open the certain ones that you want. Okay, that'll help keep it a little bit more organized for you, but we'll just open them all right now. So just a little basic welcome thing. This video is going to be posted right in here. But once you've gotten through that, just close it. A little bit of stuff to just get you started. Link to your syllabus, some information about online classes. Again, once you watch all that, make sure you read the syllabus, but once you go through all that, just close it. Now, these are the books for the classes, okay? So we have a main textbook. This is a link to it on Amazon. You can also get it in the bookstore. And this is a free PDF of the textbook. This is an old edition, but this is the one that I take questions from. They're pretty much the same. But yeah, the Zimbardo textbook, that's free because I know some people can't afford textbooks, so I take everything from the textbook. This is an optional, but yes, very helpful comic book textbook. So if you are a visual learner or you just want like an easy way to sort of understand things, I think this goes really nicely together, the main textbook and this comic book one. So that you can read the main textbook, which of course is always dry and boring, as textbooks usually are. And then you can sort of follow up with the comic book to make sure that you get the ideas. The comic book will not be in as much detail as the main textbook, and I do not take exam questions from this, although it does cover the same material, okay? So just so you know, all of the exam and quiz questions are coming from the textbook, okay? And everything that I lecture on, barring like extra stories or examples to help you understand things, that's all coming from the textbook, okay? The PowerPoint comes from the textbook. The study guides comes from the textbook. So everything is based on that textbook. Okay. When I lecture, again, I do sometimes go off on little rabbit trails, or I use examples or stories that aren't from the textbook, but the main information will always be from the textbook. Okay. And then you'll have a second book by a guy named John Gottman, Why Marriages Succeed or Fail. We will talk about this later in the term paper section. But that is a second book. This one's easy to read. It's not dry and boring like textbooks are. It's an interesting one. Okay, so then we have how to study for this class, just a couple videos that I made. A lot of my students say it's helpful, so check those out. A link to Quizlet to help you study. This is just like an online quizzing website that will, I set up like flashcards and stuff, questions for each chapter. So a lot of students say that's helpful, so check that out. And then lockdown respondus. Okay, so this is a lot of information because students always have problems with it. So I've put all the information that I can possibly put down to help you guys. But basically, this is a program where when you take your test, it will lock you into your browser so that you can't cheat, because unfortunately other students have messed it up for you guys. So the VVC likes us to use this to try to decrease cheating. So it'll lock you into your browser and it will record what you're doing on your screen and will record you through your webcam on the computer. Okay, if you don't have a webcam, you can use your your phone's camera. There's apps for that where you can connect it. Okay, if you have a Mac and an iPhone, that's really easy, but Android and everything can do that as well. So it's not that big of a deal. But this is where you will download it. And I'm going to post a video walking you through it. So I'll probably end up taking some of this stuff off and just do like a really simple video so that it's less confusing. But then there is a practice quiz so that you can make sure it's working. Okay, so do this before your test so that you can make sure that you've got it all set up, because you don't want to have to worry about that when it comes to taking the quiz and the test, and then you end up having problems with it and you're stressed out and maybe you miss your deadline and then, you're screwed out of points. I don't want that to happen to you, right? And again, if you have questions or problems, just let me know. So then I have a module on the term paper. This is not due until the end of the semester, okay? The 8-week semester for you guys, which is coming fast, okay? That's only 2 months, and you've got a lot of work to do in 2 months. But this is just information on the format of it, an example paper, video lectures, as well as the PowerPoint I use in the video lectures, and then the final paper submission. Again, we will be talking about this more, so don't stress at the moment, but make sure you get your John Gottman book. Make sure you start reading it. Every week, there's going to be a mini assignment that helps you to write the paper over the course of the 8 weeks so that you don't leave it all until the last minute. All right, so now we are in the modules of what you're actually having to do. Okay, so this is just all information stuff up here, so you can ignore that once you get through it. And then this is the meat and bones of what you'll be doing. Okay, so every section will have a read, watch, and do. So you'll read your chapter, PowerPoint. You'll watch the videos that I have for the chapter, and then you'll do some assignments on it. Okay. And let me just close these so that you can see. There are 2 modules for each week. Okay, week 1A, week 1B. And then right now I have the first 2 weeks up. I'll be getting the rest up soon. So week 2A, week 2B. Okay, so we will do 3 chapters, 1, 2, 3, and then an exam. And that's how it's going to be set up the entire semester. 3 chapters, exam, 3 chapters, exam, 3 chapters, exam, and then 3 chapters, exam. Okay, so 4 exams, 3 chapters each. Okay, and each exam only covers the 3 chapters immediately previous to the exam. They're not cumulative, including the final exam. It's not cumulative, it's just 3 chapters previously. Okay. So if we open this up, okay, so we have, I have PowerPoint for you, I have video lectures, and then for each chapter, you will do a quiz, you'll do a discussion board. This is a little bit out of order, I'll fix that. And then you'll create your own study guide, which has all of the most important information from the chapter. And that will help you study. I actually took a study guide that I made for the chapter, and then I turned it into like a create your own study guide sort of thing, so that you guys can learn a little bit better. And then there will be the little mini term paper assignment. Okay. So again, the quiz is taken from the textbook, but the PowerPoint's also taken from the textbook. The video lectures are also taken from the textbook chapter. Okay. So they're all based on the same thing. But again, I know students sometimes will say that I don't talk about everything in the chapter. That's because when teachers teach, they use examples and stories to try to make it interesting, to try to help you understand. But all of the main important stuff that I talk about in the lectures is from the textbook, okay? Because I'm following the PowerPoint, which is basically an outline of the chapter, and then I lecture on the PowerPoint. Okay. All right, so that's the quiz. The discussion board this one is just introduce yourself. It's, whatever, standard stuff. But most of the chapters will be on something most of the discussion boards will be on something pertaining to the chapter. So this is the memory discussion board, which is due at the end of the week. And you're going to be watching a couple videos on how reliable your memory is. So this is about false confessions. This is about false memories. And then you'll do a little reflection question about it. Do you believe false memories exist, etc.? Okay. So for each discussion board, you'll reply to the topic, and then you'll reply to 2 other people's posts. Okay. And it has the due dates for that. So week 1A is generally due by Wednesday, sometimes Thursday. It's the middle of the week. Okay, first week I gave you guys an extra day. But it'll be due the middle of the week, and then the second chapter will be due on Saturday. Okay, so again, you've got your discussion board, your quiz, your create your own study guide, and then the mini paper for the term paper is due Saturday. Okay, so I have it posted in both of these just so that you guys know that it's coming. But notice that this is due, is the 21st the end of the week? Yeah, 21st is in, looks like I need to change a few of these dates. Okay, I'll get that changed, so don't be confused. Basically, week 1A or 2A or whatever is going to be due middle of the week. The B section is going to be due the end of the week. Okay, that's always how it'll be. So you'll have assignments due midweek, assignments due end of the week. Okay, the discussion boards will be due a little bit earlier. The initial topic will be due a little bit earlier than the required replies, but the whole thing is going to be due by the middle of the week, by the end of the week. Okay, so hopefully that isn't confusing. I'll also be sending out announcements about what is due. So hopefully that will help. Okay, so let's just look at another example. Okay. The discussion board due middle of the week, chapter quiz due middle of the week, study guide middle of the week, okay? And then the term paper due the end of the week, okay? That's the same assignment in both. I just have it there so that you're paying attention and know it's coming. That's the same exact assignment, okay? And then on an exam week, that could be due middle of the week or end of the week. It just depends on the exam, okay? So your first exam is coming up in 2 weeks, okay? We move fast in this class. Okay, so let's take a look at the study guide. We'll look at the first one. Okay, create your own study guide. Oops, I guess I don't have, guess I haven't done this one, so I will have to go through and do that. So sorry about that. I'll get that fixed before I put this out. Okay, let's look at the memory one so that you guys get it. Okay, so you're going to create your own study guide. Has a little bit of instructions. This is where the assignment will be. So follow this link to your assignment. Okay, it's Google Docs. And this is what your assignment is. So it is an outline of a study guide, but you fill in the information. So what are the core concepts of this chapter? Explain what memory is. Define it, the 3 stages of memory. The textbook will talk about duration, capacity, and function of all of them, types of long-term memory, all of these key concepts from the textbook. Okay, so it's 2 to 3 pages each, but it's all of the most important stuff from the chapter. Obviously, there's still going to be little nitpicky details, but if you memorized all of this, if you had everything in the study guide memorized and you really understood it, then you're going to pass the exam because this is all the core, most important information. Okay. Again, it's not going to cover everything because that's going to be super long if we did that, but it is the most important information. Okay, so then you'll just be submitting the link. So you click Start Assignment, and then you can do your Google Doc link and just submit that. Okay, so easy peasy. If you don't understand it, just let me know. Okay, so then we have the mini paper assignments. Okay, so again, this is going to help you to build your term paper over the course of the next 8 weeks so that you're not super overwhelmed. So let me talk about what the term paper is so this makes sense. Okay, so the term paper is going to be based on that John Gottman book. Okay, the books for a class, this one, Why Marriages Succeed or Fail. So John Gottman is a research psychologist up at the University of Washington he is the #1 researcher in relationships and what makes marriages successful. Now, you may not be married, that's fine, but it will help you with a future marriage. It'll also help you with other relationships because what he's found is that these relationship concepts don't just apply to marriage, but apply to all close relationships. So with this paper, you will be analyzing arguments with other people because this is what, oops, got a typo there. Okay, this is what Gottman has found is that the way we argue with other people determines the quality of our relationship. So he had people come in and do an argument with each other and found that he could predict divorce with 96% accuracy based on only listening to an argument for 5 minutes between a couple, which is phenomenal. And then further, he found that if you can decrease the characteristics of the communication tactics that these people use, the bad communication tactics in the argument, it decreased the chance of divorce tremendously. Okay, so what you're going to be doing is analyzing your own relationship, seeing how you argue if you use these techniques, and then trying to have a better argument. Okay, so what you'll be doing is you'll pick a close relationship, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, best friend, sibling, parents, children, whatever. Okay, it just has to be a close relationship, so not a stranger. And then you'll be looking at, you'll sort of be talking about your relationship and the ideas of Gottman's book in the introduction section. Then you'll have an actual argument. Now, this argument number 1 can be a previous argument, okay? And you'll just be telling us what the argument is, and then you'll be analyzing it using the ideas in Gottman's book. Then you'll come up with like a idea of how to do it better, what needs to change, and then you'll have a second argument, which does have to be new. And then again, you'll analyze it, see if you did better, see if you did worse, see if it helped or not, and then just basically write about the experience. What did you learn about yourself? Would you continue doing this? Was it stupid? Whatever, okay? I don't care about what your opinion is. I just care about, did you put in effort and how well did you write it? How well did you understand it? And so on. All right, and if an idea of getting into an argument freaks you out, then just think of it as a discussion of recent problems. It doesn't have to be like yelling at each other or anything. That's not the definition of an argument. Oops, okay. So if we go back to that mini assignment, the homework assignment. Okay, where is it? Term paper, homework 1. Okay. So first thing, you have to write everything in Google Docs, okay? Write it in Google Docs. Do not copy and paste it from Word or Pages or whatever into Google Docs. Write it in Google Docs. I'm sorry if you hate that, but that's just the requirement. Helps prevent cheating. So what you'll be doing in this first assignment is figuring out who you're going to do the assignment with. Who is the person? What's your relationship to them? Explain the relationship. Explain why it qualifies. So describe why this is a close relationship with emotional depth. How often do you interact? At what emotional level do you connect? So on, so on. And then address any safety concerns. Okay, I don't want you getting in an argument with somebody that's going to result in a domestic violence incident. Okay, I don't want you to get hurt. We don't want to be dumb about this. We want to be smart about this and choose somebody that you can safely have an argument with without getting into physical or emotional danger over it, okay? If you can't figure out who to do this assignment with, let me know. If you have concerns and you're not sure, let me know. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out, okay? I've never had a student unable to do this assignment. There's always somebody that you can do the assignment with, okay? So that's it. It's easy. You'll just 1 page max, okay? And I don't really care about the page length. I just care that you're answering these questions and explaining it thoroughly, okay? So that's it. Easy assignment, okay? And so each week you're going to have another assignment that's going to help you sort of build through this. So we'll look at week 2's mini term paper. I should just call it mini term paper assignment. Okay, so again, write it in Google Docs. So in this one, you're going to be documenting your conflict, okay? Or difficult conversation, okay? It doesn't have to be an argument. Some people, that term freaks you out. If you're one of those, then just think of it as a conversation about a problem, okay? So I just want you to write down what was said. That's it, okay? So set the scene for us, okay? Give us the context, what led to the argument, when did it happen, what was the emotional intensity, what was the issue that you guys were disagreeing on, and then you just write out a script, write out the actual dialogue, write out verbatim what was said. Now, this can be verbal, this can be text, this could be email, this could be, I don't know, DMs or Snapchat or whatever, okay? But you're going to write out exactly what was said. You don't need to interpret it. You're just going to write it out as closely to the original as possible. It doesn't have to be exactly verbatim, but try your best, okay? And then, how did the argument end? Was it resolved? How did you feel afterwards, etc.? Okay. Now, argument number 1 can be a previous argument, okay? So like this says, this argument should happen naturally. Don't force one just to complete the assignment. This can be a previous argument that has occurred in the past. It doesn't need to be a new argument. But the person you pick, you need to be able to have a second discussion/argument with that person, okay? So don't pick somebody who's no longer in your life to analyze, okay? And you don't need to analyze this yet, okay? Just document what you observed. You don't need to put a lot of thought into this. You're just going to write it out. Give a little bit of contextual information, write it out. What was the outcome? That's it, okay? Pretty simple. 1 to 2 pages max. And again, I don't really care about the length. I just want to see that you're doing this and getting started and so on, okay? So easy. And the idea is that by the end of the term, this paper will have basically written itself and you're not panicking the very last week of the semester to get this done. Okay, and it also gives me an opportunity to look over what you're doing and make sure that you're doing it right. Okay, so I think that's basically it. So each week you'll either have 2 chapters or a chapter and an exam. Okay, that's the way it's going to work. And for each chapter, you will do a quiz, a discussion board, a study guide, and then, and that's it, okay? So for each chapter, quiz, discussion board, study guide. And then each week, you'll also have your mini term paper assignments, okay? So that's it. And then every 3 chapters, you'll have an exam, and at the end of the term, you'll turn in your final term paper. And that's it, okay? So hopefully that's easy to understand. I tried to organize this as well as possible so that you guys, can follow, what you need to do. If you are confused at all, if you don't understand, then just let me know and I will walk you through it. Okay. That's all there is to it. There is no Zoom session, okay, because this is an asynchronous class. So you can watch the video lectures whenever you want. The quizzes and everything are open now. You can do those whenever you want. You don't have to wait for a certain time. Don't take it too early, but also don't leave it to the last second, especially if you haven't figured out lockdown yet. But yeah, that's it. I think we've covered everything. If you have any questions, let me know and I will be happy to help. All right. Good luck, guys.